It's officially less than 5 weeks to a beaming aboard the USS Enterprise with Captain Christopher Pike and crew in the brand new Star Trek series Strange New Worlds. We'll be following Pike, Spock, Number One, and a new cast of both familiar faces as well as new characters introducing us to a final frontier where no one has gone before. Of course, some of these characters are pre-Kirk's Enterprise, but would go on to appear on his ship, such as Spock, Nurse Christine Chapel, and Dr. Mbenga. Thankfully, Paramount themselves have decided to actually promote the upcoming series, even though we're now less than 5 weeks away, as I mentioned earlier. All I'm going to do is breathe a sigh of relief. Strange New Worlds is one of our most anticipated Star Trek series, so making sure it does get the correct amount of promotion is really important before the launch of the series, especially as this is the step into the next phase of Star Trek content. Strange New Worlds is likely to be the next flagship series, taking the reins from Star Trek Discovery and leading the charge. Today we've got some brand new trailers to break down. Welcome to Trek Central, I'm your host Captain Jack and let's get straight into it today. Paramount has given us trailers for the characters of Lan Noonien Singh, Cadet Uhura, Lieutenant Commander Ortigas, Chief Engineer Hemmer, and Dr. Mbenga. This sort of makes up for the Phantom Investor Day trailer that was accidentally released and then pulled offline, with all the accounts that have shared it as well. If you want to explore that trailer, check out the link in the video description, we might have you covered. Did you know that only 18% of you watching this video are currently subscribed to the channel here on YouTube? We've got a goal of 100k to reach this year, and we can't wait to do it with your help. Hit that subscribe button. As always, please know your thoughts in the comment section below, because if you're talking about Star Trek, then we want to hear about it. Okay? Engage. So, we're going to break down all the character trailers that have been released as of Friday, April 1st. No, this is not an April Fool's Day joke, as that was yesterday anyway. First up, Cadet Uhura, the newly graduated Starfleet cadet who joins Captain Pike's crew as communications officer. Actress Celia Rose Gooding is playing the legendary character, and this trailer gives our first glimpse of her in action. Our first proper glimpse is during what seems to be an informal dinner event in Pike's Enterprise quarters. This scene was actually previously shown to journalists during a Paramount Investor Day event. Good job that didn't get leaked. The scene was described as Uhura meeting Pike's crew and incorrectly judging her required attire for the evening. It links with a trailer that we see her in the Starfleet cadet dress uniform, which is very fancy, might I add. We should really get one of those uniforms, to be fair. Maybe not like a dress, but that'd be a bit weird.
Is this on script or?
Anyway, Uhura also speaks 37 languages, much to Pike's surprise, who thought she only spoke 12. We're then introduced to a nice looking shot of a crashed Constitution class starship, which some jumped to being the Enterprise. The ship is unlikely the USS Enterprise, unless they're crashing it that early on in the series, but in fact could be the NCC-1780 USS Kaga, which in extended canon was declared lost of all hands, given it literally just went missing. The ship was a subclass of a Constitution class, perhaps using experimental tech. It would make sense having an away mission to find out what happened to the ship, and also great use of the sets they've already built for Strange New Worlds. It seems while investigating the crashed ship, they encounter an alien who is not too keen on them being there. The crew, including Pike and Chief of Security Lan Noonien Singh, resort to Uhura trying to figure out what this unknown alien is saying. The mini-trailer ends with Ethan Peck Spock telling Uhura that Starfleet would be fortunate to have an officer of her caliber serving in its ranks. Quick montage segments flash across the screen, featuring an away team floating around, an unknown vessel being attacked, and finally Uhura on the bridge of the Enterprise looking at her iconic console. So, our next teaser trailer is for Lan Noonien Singh, who we just mentioned, Chief of Security of the USS Enterprise. We and many fans have talked at length about this character's name, tying her to Khan Noonien Singh, the famous villain from TOS's Space Seed and the Wrath of Khan. So the story there will be an interesting one to follow. But let's take a look at some of the things we see in this trailer and what it might tell us about this upcoming show. Our first introduction into this character looks to be just that, Lan introducing herself to Captain Pike, who arrives on board the Enterprise and is straight to the bridge with Mr. Spock. Perhaps this is when the Enterprise is in space dock, as the planet outside of a bridge does appear to be Earth, but could easily be any old M-class planet. Lan's intro trailer does give us a great shot of the Enterprise bridge, which we'll talk more about in just a moment. The trailer also shows an away team on the ground, likely the same away team exploring and investigating the crashed Constitution class starship. You know, the same one we just mentioned in the Uhura trailer. A voiceover of Lan says that when she was a child, she is the only one to survive, further alluding to the backstory of the ever so mysterious character. This allows her to relate to Spock, who we all know suffers from being alone and isolated. If you remember, Michael Burnham told him to reach out and connect with people following her departure in Season 2 of Star Trek Discovery. Lan could have been so young that she doesn't even know her eugenic past, which could help explain why the descendant of Khan is on the Enterprise and no one brings this up the fact once they find out who Khan actually is. Asteroid shuttle chase scenes can be viewed on screen. This is our first look at the TOS era shuttles. These were seen in the previous trailer with Pike on a horse chasing after it. This would be an upgrade from the Class C shuttle seen in Discovery, and possibly a precursor or redesign of the Type F shuttles seen in the original series. So this shuttle could be a Class D, E or F shuttle. Its interior however bears a remarkable resemblance to the interior of the Class F shuttle, with its 3 windows, dual seating and circling monitors on swivel arms on the side. I definitely have to say, the set work is really great, and I can't wait to have a better look at all the sets we'll be seeing of the Enterprise in Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Anyway, back to the Lan trailer. We're seeing Spock mind mad of Lan. This could be controversial, as if Lan is connected to the famous Khan Noonien Singh, then we can't muddy canon, as Spock can't be aware of who the famous Khan actually is. Whew. Lan can be seen investigating what looks to be a crashed ship, the Enterprise excursion jackets, which I think look really cool, and I want one. Throughout these trailers we do see many scenes of the excursion jackets, which is great. Obviously the original series pilot, the Cage, we also had our crew having excursion jackets. And obviously we can't forget the Star Trek Enterprise show, which also had excursion jackets for our officers on away missions. I still want one, honestly. An interesting scene in what looks to be Lan fighting number 1 in the engineering room of the Enterprise, as well as the officer exploring a strange new world with some sort of alien device. All looking rather cool and interesting. Dr. Mbenga can be seen investigating and scanning Lan, who is now wearing some sort of Renaissance outfit. It looks interesting. So let's talk about the bridge of the Enterprise. It was previously seen in Star Trek Discovery Season 2, but it has been updated to be more in line with the bridge as we know it from Star Trek the original series. There is no longer a corridor surrounding a bridge, and the turbolift doors have been brought forward a little bit more to make it a bit more homely. The colouring of this bridge is much more natural than the blue as of used in Discovery. But considering that Pike always says welcome back and welcome aboard everyone in later trailers, we do see the Enterprise coming out of a dry dock. The ship seems to have been put in with some repairs. Whether this is being repaired from the battle at the end of Discovery Season 2 against Control near Xea or other reasons is not currently known. I'd like a really big battle to be fair, maybe a big space battle. Man can dream. Okay, next up we've got confirmation that the character of Hemmer is the Enterprise's chief engineer. He'll be overseeing the USS Enterprise before the likes of the famous Mr. Scott came aboard to take over. Now we already know that Hemmer is an Anar, a blind subspecies the Andorians first introduced in Star Trek Enterprise. Anar, it's one of them. It seems like his first action plan of the day is ensuring the away team, featuring number 1, can beam up to Enterprise. We'll also introduce the Transporter Chief Kyle, played by Andre Kim. Trek Central originally broke this story on March 18th, but Kim had been cast as Chief Kyle, and was originally featured in Star Trek original series, so we've got another legacy character joining the ranks of Strange New Worlds, and my does he look fantastic. The incident is handled efficiently, as Hemmer managed to solve the transporter problem and Kyle is able to beam the team aboard. Hemmer is apparently a genius as well. The Enar species are very intelligent as revealed by Enterprise, so we can't wait to see more of what he can actually do. Spock even reveals that Hemmer's other senses compensate for his lack of sight. He even demonstrates this by catching a breadstick or carrot it seems. A quick montage of technical components are shown on screen, likely indicating we're getting a feature of engineering time on Strange New Worlds. We're also once again shown the crew walking towards a crashed starship, likely with Hemmer being on the away team to investigate and see if it can be repaired. Probably not. An interesting shot in the Hemmer trailer is the Enterprise coming into contact with either a massive starship or space station. It seems to later chase the Enterprise, firing on the ship. Our first thought was this ship could be an Orion starship, and its orange rotating spears around its hull are remarkably similar to the Orion scout ship seen in the original series episode Journey to Babel. Perhaps this is a bigger variant of that scout ship or just another variant overall. However, this might not be the case, as it was said in the episode that the scout ship was not known by Starfleet at the time in their design. So if they had encountered a ship with similar designs to it previously, surely it would have been seen on their records. Though the scout ship's hull was composed of high density titanium, allowing the vessel to be cloaked against Federation sensor probes, so perhaps this is how they got around it. Whatever the ship may be though, it does look very menacing. I look forward to the episode that it'll appear in. And finally for the Hemmer trailer, with him giving a voice about humans worrying about so much about death, while the Enar believe that the end only comes when a person has fulfilled their purpose. All this while a montage of shots of the Enterprise moving around and being fired at by an unknown starship occur. Hemmer, in conversation with Uhura, reveals its purpose is to fix what is broken. Perfect for a chief engineer, I'd say. Our next trailer introduces us to the Helms Officer of Enterprise, this being Lieutenant Commander Enrique Ortiguez. I'm already loving this character, as her first interaction with Captain Pike is one I already love to see. Her remark about taking the Enterprise in close, depending on the style of date, gives me the impression that she is going to be one interesting character aboard the ship. Additional montage shots of the Enterprise being chased in what looks like some sort of black hole at first glance are presented. The ship chasing Enterprise is unknown, but does sort of remind me of Krall's ship from Star Trek Beyond at certain angles. Pike gives the readers a pep talk about being the best pilot at Starfleet Academy. This is likely as they're about to fly close to a black hole. There is also a scene of Ortega's firing a phaser with the helm console. Perhaps Enterprise has been boarded. Again, the shot of some sort of alien ship being attacked is shown off, though it's unknown which ship this is. However, we can draw a comparison between this and the Lan trailer, as Lan is shown looking at a triangle-shaped window which appears on the side of his ship. Finally, a shot of the Enterprise in the asteroid field as some sort of blue energy field generates behind it. Our first thought is maybe a Folian energy web, something we've seen in Star Trek many times in the universe's history, but it does look different in that it's blue. Also, this is likely the same asteroid field that the shuttle scenes of Spock and Lan are taking place in. The last Folian mention would have been in Pike's short trek Ask Not, so it could be a way to link that short trek to this new show, though we're still hoping we see Cadet Farah Sidhu appear at some point, but so far that is looking slightly unlikely. Our Chief Medical Officer at Pike's Enterprise is finally introduced. This is of course Babs Osalagham, playing Dr. Mbenga, who has appeared in the Star Trek universe before, originally being played by Booker Bradshaw in 1968. Our introduction here gives us a new intro to the character in the Star Trek universe, and what he's doing on board Pike's Enterprise. Spock can be seen with some sort of alien paste on his forehead, giving us flashbacks of Star Trek Enterprise's Dr. Phlox and his weird and wonderful medical treatments. Seriously, that eel treatment still gives me the creeps to this day. Anyway, Nurse Chapel can be seen assisting the Doctor, and we'll talk about her in a moment as she has her very own dedicated reveal trailer for Strange New Worlds. Not only does the Mbenga trailer give us a good look at the character, but also the sickbay of the Enterprise as well, even the Chief Medical Officer's office. Mbenga can be heard saying that he is the Chief Medical Officer on the flagship of Starfleet, just as the Enterprise approaches some unknown space anomaly. He's also on the away team to the crashed starship, along with Captain Pike, likely this being a rescue mission if they're taking the Chief Medical Officer along for the trip. While sickbay seems overrun with patients, the Doctor can be heard saying that prejudice has kept people from helping each other for centuries. This quote sticks out to modern day, and perhaps gives us a glimpse into one of the messages that Strange New Worlds will tell viewers when it airs in just under a month. A quick montage of trailer scenes reveals him working on some sort of lab experiment as well as dashing across sickbay, further linking to the idea of a ship being boarded and taken over by a hostile force. Uh-oh. Actress Jess Bush is playing Nurse Chapel. She is another character previously featured in Star Trek the original series. Dr. Mbenga is the first to introduce Chapel to Captain Pike, Spock and Lan, with the captain welcoming her on board and saying she's just a person for the job. One thing I immediately love about this character is we're building up her backstory, adding more layers where there previously were none. So what's the job she's doing on board Enterprise? Well, it appears to be messing with genomes of the crew, specifically Lan's it seems. Again, this is one of those story bits that could present some major issues, especially if Lan is an augment related to Khan Noonien Singh, though the scan seen on screen reveals this is not currently Lan being scanned, but someone else, even though the character seems to have some sort of violent flashback at the time. Chapel can be seen climbing through Jeffrey's tubes, pushing medical sample equipment off the table in order for number one to lay Hammer down on the table, likely as he's taken a hit. She can also be seen attending to a young boy, with Dr. Mbenga overseeing her work. Now the next scene certainly is a funny one, especially as the kind of bad news of Mr. Spock, who might regret opening his mouth and asking if Chapel wanted to discuss her feelings with him. The Enterprise's mess sees both characters sit down over a drink, just as Chapel slaps him in the face, though it appears more playful than an actual slap. Maybe he mentioned Roger Corby, the person who Nurse Chapel was supposed to be engaged to at the moment, with her going to space to find out where he is, eventually finding out he's been made androids on some planet in the original series. It's confusing, right? It would be a great way to add some backstory to Nurse Chapel. Additional montage scenes of Enterprise being chased into the Singularity in space occur, while scenes of what looks like pirates on board Enterprise are happening. Chapel can be seen taking them out hand to hand, likely leading to escape via Jeffrey's tube and into the upper areas of the ship to help with it being boarded. Now, returning from Star Trek Discovery, we have Ethan Peck reprising his role as Spock in Strange New Worlds, and his trailer is full of Vulcan goodness. We get numerous shots of some very Vulcan ceremonial areas, with some sort of area surrounded by some floors of lava looking like an arena, to Spock being handed a Lurper, with some sort of ceremonial combat Vulcan event. Obviously the last time we saw this was from Mock Time, the classic TOS episode where Spock fights against Kirk using Lurpers. I would assume this is a different ceremony, perhaps after his rite of passage and becoming a man, but it seems like many Vulcan ceremonies turn to bloodshed, which makes sense considering that is who the Vulcans originally were, before they sought logic and just generally being annoying. I think the main aspect of Spock's trailer is the introduction of T'Pring, who we originally revealed as being played by Gia Sandhu back in July of last year. Yes. She's said to appear in multiple episodes. I know many people are hesitant about this, due to it being said in TOS that her and Spock haven't met since they were children, so perhaps this could be some sort of catch-up link similar to what we saw in Discovery Season 1 with Sarek and Burnham. With the Lurpers, it could be we get a Pon farr episode this season as well, especially considering that Season 1 might take place in 2260, which is 7 years before Mock Time takes place. The only problem with that is in a Mock Time it's said to be Spock's first Pon farr, coming late due to his half-human lineage. However, this was contradicted by Star Trek III, The Search for Spock, which shows an adolescent Spock going through Pon farr on the Genesis planet. So whatever happens, I think I'll contradict something. And I'm not contradicting it, I'm not writing the bloody series, am I? Kurtzman? So whatever happens, I think it'll contradict something, but hopefully for a good reason and not too seriously. There seems to be an episode of Strange New Worlds where a comet is going to hit a planet, with Uhura pointing out that Spock reminds people of deadlines a lot, which is very true. A comet hitting a planet could be a very classic Situation of the Week episode, which Strange New Worlds is looking to return to as a series. And at the very heart of this trailer, and at the heart of Spock as a character as well, is that Spock is a person of two worlds, the Vulcan and the human. And he says that on Vulcan he had to prove that he belonged, but in Starfleet he was merely accepted for who he is. So we might get some deep dives into the character of Spock. He is quite simply Spock. There is also a small scene of Spock screaming, which very much reminds me of Zachary Quinto's Spock screaming in Star Trek 2009. Ethan Peck is very much a meld between Zachary Quinto and Leonard Nimoy, and I think that is a good place for Spock to be before we see him in the original series. So let's talk about number 1's trailer. It looks fantastic. Before the main man of Captain Pike, every captain is backed up by a strong first officer, and our first officer in Strange New Worlds is Una Chin Riley, also known as Number 1. She's played by the great Rebecca Romjin, and we get a trailer for her as well. For those of you who might not know, Number 1 appeared in the original TOS pilot, The Cage, and was seen as the logical first officer to Captain Pike, but not much else was known about her. The comics and books around Pike's Enterprise developed her backstory in different ways, such as being brought Illyrian and other logical species compared to Vulcans. In her first character announcement trailer, Rebecca Romjin said we'd be seeing a new side to Number 1 and it's very complex, and we might be getting a look at this in this trailer. There is a particular scene where Number 1 is over the body of a red shirt, perhaps Lan, in engineering. During the Lan trailer, we do see these two fight. Whether it be a sparring or an actual fight is kind of unknown, but Number 1 seems to start to glow red and scream. Perhaps this is an episode where Number 1 has been possessed by some alien entity, or is a further hint to her backstory. We do get a look at what looks to be the lounge of the USS Enterprise. 5 forward maybe? Now this looks to be amazing. It's presumably the same location where Spock gets slapped by Nurse Chapel, which we saw in a previous character teaser. The sets we're getting for the show are absolutely insane, and I can't wait to just spend time with our characters here, whatever the episode stories might be. We also get a look at an updated Starbase 1 type starbase, which was previously seen in Discovery Season 1 and the short trek The Girl Who Made the Stars. But as I said, it is updated, as it now appears to have biodomes around its ring. This is absolutely amazing both in-universe and out-of-universe. Being able to create a new CG asset for the show by just updating previous designs, which is good for the budget, but also feeds into the show exactly, by having similar designs and just goes to flesh out the world and makes it feel like somewhat a lived-in universe in a way. It seems like Number 1 has a problem feeling a part of the crew, but Lan, who seems to be a brutally honest character, lets her know it's because she terrifies people and not because she's a senior officer. Number 1 can be quite cold sometimes, which I'm sure can scare some younger officers. There are some other interesting scenes, like Una on an away mission, on the bridge defending what looks to be from a pirate attack, and a scene in what looks to be Pike's ready room or a conference room of sorts. Pike goes on to say that she is the best officer in the fleet. This makes me feel like Number 1 may be looking to step down in this scene, for some reason or another, and Pike is trying to keep her on. Perhaps this could link into a character arc for Una about her trying to find her belonging. It could be interesting, as we do know the character development and moments will continue throughout episodes, whereas the general episode storylines will be individual to those episodes, not the entire series-long storylines like we're familiar with Star Trek Discovery and Picard. So those are the trailers for Star Trek Strange New Worlds so far. They're giving us a good introduction not only to the crew, but also to the cast of the upcoming series. We're less than 5 weeks out of the series premiere for May 5th, 2022, and it's getting exciting for the upcoming series. So much so, the police are on their way. It's too hot for TV. Originally, many were concerned about Paramount's advertisement and handling of the marketing of Pike's series. Now, it does seem Paramount have remembered they do have a brand new series coming out later this year, and have decided to actually market it properly. Well done, guys. We're also super thankful for that. Anson Mount has also revealed that a premiere event is likely upcoming for Strange New Worlds in New York around the series premiere date. Whether this event will go forward is sort of unknown. Star Trek's official fan event, Mission Chicago, is coming up next weekend, with a panel on Strange New Worlds as well. Perhaps this means we might be getting a big feature, or even a new trailer. We'll have to wait and see, I think. Stick around for the latest news and developments in the meantime. So, are you excited for Star Trek Strange New Worlds? And do you like the introduction to our new characters so far? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Because like always, if you are talking about Star Trek, then we want to hear about it. So if you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server to continue today's conversation. For now, I've been Captain Jack, thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon. Live long, prosper my friends, goodbye.